This sensitive topic has to do with the outcomes and the side effects of vaccines. There are plenty. As I've told you many times on this show, there is no perfect treatment. Every single medical treatment has some kind of side effects. So, well, you have to not only you have to be aware of those side effects, your physician has to be aware of those side effects, but there should be enough research about, say, the side effects. And in this case, this clip from J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan about his experience with the COVID vaccine was, let's say, was enlightening. Let's play the clip.
And I mean, I took the vax, and I haven't been boosted or anything, but the moment where I really started to get red pilled on the whole vax thing was the sickest that I've been in the last 15 years by far was when I took the vaccine.
When he says that red pilled is a term for saying that, oh, I woke up, I realized this all of a sudden.
And I've had COVID at this point 5 times. I was in bed for 2 days. My heart was racing. I was like, the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about that, even, no like serious injury, but even the fact that we're not even allowed to talk about the fact that I was as sick as I've ever been for 2 days, and the worst COVID experience I had was like a sinus infection. I'm not really willing to trade that.
Yeah, it was a bit odd for so many people that I'm going to talk about my own experience in a minute, that they had COVID and they tested positive for COVID and the symptoms were like minimal, and they were pushed this treatment on people that really didn't need it at the time. And we were listening to Dr. Burks yesterday that she's trying to save face with all that she knew, all that she was responsible, and all the influence that she had back then, and she didn't speak about this, and how people are beginning to share their own experiences. And I've never spoken about my vaccine experiences, but I'm going to in a minute.
And you don't even, everybody that I know, or a lot of people I know, they talk about the second shot that they got of the vaccine that made them really, really sick. Well, that's a side effect, and not a side effect that we even talk about enough in this country.
No, it's also, again, we're talking about companies that have a long history of lying and being forced to pay criminal fines, and then we're giving them this exemption from being responsible for any of the side effects.
That was one of the most outrageous things. Okay, you can be earning billions of dollars, you can be pushing this, it's business as usual for you, but why were you so hell-bent into making sure that nobody could complain about the side effects, if there were any? And we knew that there were gonna be, if you use a vaccine in 5 billion people, you're gonna have millions of people with the side effects. But this people began sharing their experiences. Elon Musk said, I had a similar experience. COVID itself was nothing. I got the OG Wuhan strain before vaccines were out. Johnson & Johnson vaccine hurt my arm, but otherwise nothing. But the mRNA booster hit extremely hard. Massive chest pain. Felt like I got hit by a truck. Almost went to hospital. That said, synthetic mRNA has a lot of potential to cure cancer and other diseases. Research should continue. My own experience with the vaccine is that I remember when I saw this popping up in February 2020, finding out about COVID, what was going on. I think it was not in March. It was in February itself that as soon as it popped up, I know I got it because I had a very strange symptoms. My symptoms were just a lack of energy for 1 week. I felt a lack of energy. I was not bedridden by any means. I didn't have fever. I didn't have like headaches, anything. But I knew that there was something wrong. At the same time that this was popping up, I remember that back then I was pointing out the issue with the ICUs, the intensive care units availability, that if this was what we were seeing, then there could be a collapse of the intensive care units availability. I was not looking at the broader picture. Maybe I didn't get the big numbers right, but I knew that the way that people were falling sick about this, especially the elderly were falling sick about this, something that was very important later on, I realized that, okay, maybe at some point this could be a health hazard, some kind of a real problem, if not for COVID itself, but for the lack of availability of ICU beds. Because if, for example, you are in a car crash and you need an ICU bed because you were in a car crash and all ICU beds are filled with people with COVID, then that is a real problem. That is a real problem. But it so happens that I had those very mild symptoms for reasons for societal pressure. You already remember that 2020 was not a good year for me. I really caved in to get the Pfizer one. Zero symptoms, nothing happened. It was like getting a saline solution. It's nothing, like just the vaccine and zero side effect, like zero, no, not even arm pain or anything. And the booster afterwards, again, nothing. It's like is this a real? Is this a real thing? Oh well, that's it. I didn't have zero symptoms. I guess I was lucky. I was joking that I have a tentacle that grew on my back and it's useful when I'm typing, and then I use the tentacle to scratch my head. I just joking about that, but I was lucky. But some were not as lucky as Vance was saying, or Elon Musk were saying, or your experiences that I'm seeing on your comments. That why would healthy people would have to go through this, and at the same time, all the lies that were being pushed, that if you get vaccinated, then you will not catch COVID, which I've already told you was a lie from the start. I want to share with you, this is a very important message from Vittorio, Aitor Intellectus. The real scandal with the so-called vax isn't just the side effects. 1.3 to 4.9 million serious adverse events estimated. I told you, if you are vaccinated, billions of people, you're going to have billions with serious adverse effects. Is that mRNA therapies were rushed to market and forced on people with the threat of losing their livelihoods without long-term testing. That was criminal. To this day, we still don't know the full repercussions, and it will take another 10 years to have a good picture. Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe everyone will develop cancer. I pretty much doubt it. I think that it was, how to say this? It was an evil experiment, but I think that we would see many more repercussions by this point. Maybe nothing will happen. No one knows. And if they tell you they do, they are lying. Another scandal is that they changed the definition of vaccine to make the mRNA therapy more palatable and used to as a weapon to brand skeptics as anti-vax. So it was really not a vaccine in itself. It looked like a vaccine because you were getting like a pinch, right? But it is not really a vaccine. This is just label like gene therapy as a vaccine, just to you can understand. Oh, it's just a vaccine. It's like the vaccine of the measles or polio. A regular vaccine. The result, and this is my stance as well. The result is a catastrophic collapse in public trust. Not just in this technology, but in science itself, which is a tragedy. This has been, that this is my stance as well. It is a tragedy, the erosion of trust in science and in medical science. mRNA has incredible potential for cancer, genetic diseases, and real medical breakthroughs. instead of advancing the COVID rollout set back adoption by years, if not decades. A crime against innovation and progress. It's also worth noting that this was the largest medical experiment in human history. Over 5 billion people received a therapy with no long-term data on their mandates and censorship that undermined true informed consent. The second largest human experiment of this kind are the ones the Nazis ran, by the way. So that is the thing that I'm really upset about. I'm not only upset of all the people who were forced into this, including myself, and well, I was lucky, has no side effects. Upset of all the people who got side effects from this, for the people who died because of this, but also the lies who were pushed. And thanks to Kevin Bass, we have this video from March 29, 2021. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky infamously declared on MSNBC, vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick. No. That doesn't work like that. That was an outright lie. Because you're gonna carry it, you're gonna spread it. Oh, if you are not vaccinated, you're helping spread the. You're gonna spread it either way. You cannot stop it. If you tried to say anything back then, you know that's the thing that we were talking about. Dr. Birx yesterday. Where was she going to say these things? It's in mainstream media, in Twitter. She would be banned instantly. In Facebook, banned instantly. That's the problem. Emails obtained by FOIA from January 30, 2021 show that Walensky knew this was a lie at the time she said this. And this is the video so you can hear her own words.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real world.
Complete. The CDC director lied about this. How can we trust them now? How can we trust them now? And also, thank you, Kevin Bass. Dr. Anthony Fauci claims COVID vaccination turns the person vaccinated into a dead end for the virus. Another lie, another blatant lie. You know how many people at the time sucked Fauci's cock. It was it was insane. Dr. Fauci, you're so great. You're saving humanity. This guy should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. I don't know where. There should be a way. That's why Joe Biden pardoned this demon.
It's absolutely the case, and that's the reason why we say when you get vaccinated, you not only protect your own health, that of the family, but also you contribute to the community health by preventing the spread of the virus throughout the community. In other words, you become a dead end to the virus. And when there are a lot of dead ends around, the virus is not going to go anywhere. And that's when you get a point that you have a markedly diminished rate of infection in the community. And that's exactly the reason, and you said it very well, of why we encourage people and want people to get vaccinated. The more people you get vaccinated, the safer the entire community.
And then people began to realize that they got vaccinated and they got the boosters, and 1 booster and 2 boosters, 3 boosters, 4 boosters, 5, 6, I don't know how many boosters they got, and they still were getting COVID, and they were still getting COVID and bad. So what was going on? I don't know. By the way, they have all this. Again, some of us were really lucky about that. But in many ways, I think this was a lesson learned. Sadly, a very costly lesson for many people who lost loved ones to this. And which at the same time, thanks that we have President Trump in office right now, we have been able to really uncover what everybody knew from the beginning, and that we were being silenced from the beginning, that the Wuhan lab stuff was pushed by Dr. Fauci and the NIAID with government money to push a gain of function research, which, in my opinion, it's insane. Let's not fight the current monsters in our land. Let's use those resources that we could be using to fight the current monsters to create deadlier monsters. No, that is insanity. That is pure insanity. So there's a leak, and they did everything they could to make it seem that no, they had nothing to do with that. They had everything to do with that. Oh, it was from a bat. It was found in nature. No, it was not found in nature. It was a gain of function. We're going to develop a vaccine in record time. How much time do you need for the clinical trial? What do you mean that in 6 months you have? No, that is impossible. That's simply not possible. You cannot have something. Again, as we were talking yesterday, if you have people that have no other chance and are at a highest risk of, if they get COVID, they're going to die because they will not have the strength to get through COVID, then, well, maybe they can they can access or they can use the vaccine. Of course, under consent, and informed consent. Hey, this is experimental. You can either die from COVID or maybe you can die from the vaccine, but you have to know about the risks. No, they absolutely try to silence everything. It is good in one thing, because we learn how much the media could lie about the lives of people and how much these organizations could lie to push monetary interests. But at the same time, we got all this distrust in anything that science and this medical tech can advance. That is a tragedy, because actual research, what we need is actual research, unbiased research, without any conflict of interest, because that is what makes humanity, not only America, humanity healthier. And sadly, that has been pushed back years, if not decades. I would like to know what you think about this in the comments.